Yes, our final part. I'm glad you're with us. Let's finish this up.
Made way back in top of them hills where there's plenty of sunshine still. Well, it don't give a darn
Well,
where you fall sweat walls.
this is going to be the process. See, I thought first of all I was going to use a small pot, and I can still do that. I'm just going to fill this large one here. I'll just drain out as much as I can and reintroduce that. And that's going to be my hot sparge. And then after that, I'm going to raise those grains, raise that grain bed up, and then it's going to be an amazing thing. You need to see this. Ooh, and you ask, how do I know that there's sugars in there? What's that look like to you? See, it's forming all those, well, that's not soap, folks. Those are fermentable sugars. And there's a look at our grain bed. Let's just pour this back in there. Ooh, slowly. Now I'll do this 2 or 3 times. Oh. And I just move my way on down and do them all the same way. So you can see that I started out with a little over 4 gallons, probably 15, 16 liters in here. And now you'll notice that I've got just slightly over 3 gallons. What does that mean? It means those grains are holding on to all of that moisture. So I just got to get them out. Now, remember, I'm going to do the same thing to all 3 of the other 2 of these as well. And I'm going to save you the the pain of watching me go through that. I'm just going to do I'll do this one, and then I'll truncate the video and just keep on going, but we'll get to the next step. But see, here's my screen. I'm going to use that as a diffuser. I just drop that down on top. This is the final rinse. Oh, let me open that back up. There we go. And I use that screen as oh, look at that, diffuser, and that's rinsing all of those fermentable sugars out of that grain bed. So what have I got left? I've got the other 2 to do, of course, but then I've got to adjust the pH. We'll do that. I've got to let it cool. I got to get it below 90 degrees. Below 90 degrees at least. It's probably getting closer now. I'll introduce that tomato paste. Check that pH. Finalize my pH adjustment down to 5.2 in that area. It's really hard to be exact, but I get it in that area. And then what do you think? Yeah, I'll add some yeast. I'll put an airlock on it, slide that aside, keep that in a controlled environment, and let that sucker ferment. See how easy that was? Stay with us, and I'll show you the introduction of. If you really need to see it, I'll show you. I'll be putting the tomato paste in there. But just remember, you either separate the grains now or you separate the grains later. It doesn't matter to me. Again, process versus technique. One technique is to take every bit of this, put it into your fermenter, and then ferment. Will that work? Absolutely. But then you're going to have to go through this anyway. Just remember that once you've gotten everything out of your grains that you're not going to get any more. They just become rice hulls. They add no benefit. They take nothing away, but they're just there. But they got to go away. You got to get rid of them before you put them in the still. Remember, folks, a still is all. Think of it like this: a still is like a computer. Junk in, junk out. The cleaner you put your mash into your still, of course, the cleaner it's going to come out. And I don't care if you're using electric, solar power, propane, whatever you're using to heat that thing with. If you put solids in, solids will scorch. It's just a given. Unless you have one of those high-speed stills that have an agitator that agitates that. And of course, that's going to be an oil-jacketed still. We'll talk about that on another video. But our traditional basic stills that we use for home distilling, you're going to have to remove the grains at some point. Why not remove them now and get a real good clean catch? see you in just a little bit. Well, well, well. Now I'm just gonna all right, let's talk about efficiency. It's amazing. Now remember I had about 6 pounds total, give or take a couple of ounces, in each one of those. And started off with 15 liters, a little 4 gallons or so. And of course, when I drained them off, at the very end, I wound up with 3.5 gallons. And each one, it was sort of like a good average. So then I used that final spars water to bring that back up to 5 gallons. And as a matter of fact, I've actually increased it to like 5.5 gallons. So I've diluted it a little bit. Here's what I wound up with. In all 3 methods or techniques, I wound up with just about the same thing. And my initial gravity is like 1.047, 45-ish, 47, right there in that neighborhood. And that's very good in general terms itself. Of course, we always wish it could be higher. Of course. Well, when you think about it, it really should have been, if I used the regular method and I didn't do any sparging and all that stuff, it would have been lower. So I'm at either the 85% or just a little bit above 85% efficiency. So what I did was I had a couple of pounds of sugar to those and brought them up to like 1.070. Now, of course, 1.090 is my own personal goal, but I can live with that 1.070 because I've got 3 buckets. And again, volume is not as important as, see, that's where quantity versus quality. So I'm opening up a can of tomato paste, and I've only got 2. So I'm going to use 2 cans of tomato paste, one in one bucket, one in the other bucket, and then the last one I'm going to use just regular yeast nutrient. Now the easiest way to do this is kind of neat, because tomato paste is pretty thick. So you open up one end of it, and then just flip it over and open up the other end, and it almost works like a syringe, like a stopper. And as you push down, there, see, as I push down on this, it just pushes all of that. Make sense? Yeah. And I'll just use a whisk, and I'll just take some off and whisk it in there. And I'm going to do this to those 2 buckets all the way till they get down to the end. And believe it or not, don't even worry about it. If you drop the lid in there, you're going to get it out anyway. At some point, you're going to siphon this off and go to the secondary. Now, all 3 of these are right now sitting at like 5.6, 5.7 pH. I'm going to do this one and test it so you can see what a difference a can of tomato paste can make. And then after that, I have to let it cool because it's about 110 degrees. It just takes a while for a volume that large. There, empty can. It's an easy way to empty a can of tomato paste. And let me get my pH meter going. And it only brought it down to 5.3. So I'll just add, like a tiny bit of citric acid because I want to try to get as close to 5.2 as I can. I could leave it there and everything would be just fine. Well, that's really just about it. These will have to sit this evening and cool, of course, because I got to get it below 90 degrees and it'll take a while. Yeah, what are my options here, though? I could put, a jug of ice in there, freeze some bottles of water, and then drop those in there, and then, you could bring it down. You could do it a whole lot quicker, or you can just use the old George method when you get lazy and you ain't got nothing else to do. Hell, I got a movie I want to go watch, so I just let it cool off on its own using ambient temperature, and that'll take probably till about morning. Now just introduce my yeast and let her go. This has been an awesome event. I'm excited. I'm happy for you. Please subscribe, share us with your friends, comment below, get in touch with us, send us an email, do all that stuff, and have a Merry Christmas. Happy distilling.